Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today is April 7, 2023, and today is Friday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, Facebook continues to climb higher. But first, looking at the major economic events of today. So at 2:30 South African time out of the United States, we have the very important non-farm payroll numbers coming out. Now, looking at the various markets going into this number, the Forex symbols, the major pairs are pretty much unchanged going into this number. And looking at the Dow Jones and NASDAQ really flatlining yesterday and unchanged. Looking at commodities, gold just steady and holding on to its gains, while oil as well, just unchanged. Now looking at the stocks, it's really the tech stocks. They're still leading the markets higher. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin unchanged. So a lot of unchangedness right before this number, but let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. We're going to take a look at the Euro USD starting out and pretty much flatlining here at the top of the range. Okay, that is still the case. So this number is going to be very important, the non-farm payroll, and I believe that this month is going to be very important as more economic data comes out. Now looking at the GBP USD also at its resistance stage, so nothing really doing here. I'm just looking either for a breakout or some sort of correction on the downside because we're at a threshold that's very important. It's either we're going to break out higher or not. And that's really the big question here. Now looking at Australian dollar, same case as well. Now jumping into commodities, gold holding to its gains above $2,000. That's really important as it's still on resistance-ish area, but it's holding on, okay? It did hit about, if you look at a 4-hour chart, it did hit 2027, excuse me, and that's only shy of its highs of about $25. So, you know, this still has room to, on the upside, and if it does, it can continue pretty decently, maybe to even new highs for the year. Now looking at crude oil, steady at $80 a barrel, okay, since we had that gap up from last week, unchanged. Now looking at the US stocks, okay, look at that. I mean, that doesn't get more flatline than anything I've ever seen in my life, right? We're trading between 33,642 and 33,586, which is about a 50, point move area. So it's really flatlining before this NFP. A lot of weight is going to be added to it, so just be aware of it. Now looking at the NASDAQ, it did gain before this number, okay, but looking at it right now, unchanged, okay, for the past day, it's really been just very, very subtle, this change. Now looking at the individual stocks, Apple continues to go higher, and so does Microsoft. If we look at that, Microsoft bouncing to that 291-ish level, I don't want to say bouncing, it's sort of ripping up to that 291 level. I mean, I don't even know if they say ripping anymore. Ripping means it's going up aggressively, okay? But it's not going there with a lot of volume, which is disconcerting, okay? Now, looking at one of the strongest stocks that has been just trending higher continuously, 216 for Facebook as it continues to climb and climb and climb and just doesn't give up, okay? Now, these are the two disconcerting things I have on my mind as these are making new highs. Number one, they're making new highs on lower volume. And number two, they all have lots of economic data due for them this quarter. Their first quarter earnings will be, published this at the end of the quarter. So this may be a press up to a sell-off, okay, maybe. So just keep aware of that as we get closer to those numbers. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin, unchanged here at 27,919, okay, can't break out of this range since we've been in it since the middle of March. Now, another thing to remember today, non-farm payroll, very big number. Obviously, it's going to affect the Dow Jones Minis mostly, okay, because that's the one most related to it. So just be aware of it. Okay, and be conscious of your stop and take profit if you do have any USD related assets already open. So just be aware of it. This is Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.